Most people want a better year, but they don't want a better discipline. Tonight, we're talking about how faith, mental health, and discipline actually work together. And I'm gonna say this, and the reason I wanted to talk about this because faith, mental health, business, fitness, everything is in the Bible. And it's funny because the more I dive into the Bible, the more you see, like even business models are in the Bible, like Solomon. And the reason I dove into Solomon was because I heard Myron Golden talk about him, and he was like Solomon's business model, or even like the way Jesus went around and presented himself. It's just he didn't charge, but he gave information, and people followed him because it was so valuable, and he showed what he could do. So other people started talking about him. You get what I'm saying? So faith, mental health, fitness, everything aligns when it comes to being successful. And the crazy thing about it is, most people won't do what's in the Bible and struggle their whole life living on the other side. That is so crazy to me. And I'm not going to say it's crazy to me because I've done it. And we all go through spats of, man, I don't want to pray today. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to work out. I don't want to do this. I don't want to read the Bible. But when you pray, you feel better. When you read the Bible, you get clarity. When you go to the gym, your body feel better. When you go to your therapist, you can talk through things that you're confused about in your relationships, at work, at home, and things like that. And even having church, a lot of people think going to church is going into a building, but you could have church in a room with multiple people. And Dottie, you can talk about that a little more. So I'm going to segue into the first question, which is, from a faith perspective, why do you think discipline is so hard for people, even when they believe in God, Donnie?
So I love this question, man. Just this past week, Sunday. So my pastor, Jay Patrick, he said something, man, that a lot of people are saved, but they're not satisfied. And it really stuck out to me because I think when you along the terms is that I think when you talk about discipline and people that are saved, I think a lot of times they're still looking for something. Like, is this it, or what else is to it? It's like, am I getting all that I supposed to get? I think that discipline is like protection, and sometimes, God tells us, to don't do that, or we, don't do this, and we feel like He's hiding something from us. It's almost like what happened in the Garden of Eden. It's like the enemy was like, surely, man, like, you'll know more if you eat this fruit. That's what the serpent was telling Eve. And it's like, what is it more to know? And I think sometimes we actually think that there's something we're missing. So discipline is kind of saying like that'll hurt you. Discipline is saying like, if you do this right here, this is not beneficial. We think about us being parents, right? Would we give our 10-year-old the car and say, just go have a ball? There's a level of responsibility that comes with it. And discipline it protects you, but it also gives you guidelines of what's healthy. The Bible teaches us to train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get older, they won't depart from it. That's discipline. When it says spare the rod, spoil the child, that's discipline. It's about saying that I'm going to lay these groundwork and these guidelines that protect you. One of the things I always tell my daughters is that, the reason that I have a authoritative voice is because if it's a time when you're out of bounds, I need for my voice to be able to be strong enough to pull you back you know. So that's it.
Go ahead, Adrian. You look like you got something to say. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just like, Donnie be rocking. Donnie be rocking, man. I'll say, you go. You go, Dominique.
Okay, so I'll say discipline and faith, they're like married together because you can't have faith and no discipline. I always think about it like speed limits. Imagine a world where you could go as fast as you can no speed limits or anything. I don't know if it'll be a world. It'll be so many accidents that you'll be scared to go outside. You wouldn't want to drive, you wouldn't want to go out anywhere. But that goes to rules as well. So when you're disciplined, like I get up at, I know I have to, like we started a 5 a.m. club, but I truly have to get up earlier so I could prep for the 5 a.m. club, right? So I have to get up at 3 to not feel rushed. So I get my workout and I do what I need to do. Put the topics together. I try to meet with everyone I need to meet with. I send you guys the agenda, things like that. But if I wasn't disciplined, you guys be like, this guy don't know what he's doing. He always scrabbling around, don't know what he's doing. And then that word was spread as well. Like, don't work. Like, I'm not saying you guys would do it, but when you make an impression on someone, how consistent you are, how disciplined you are, how faith driven you are, how you are behind closed doors will always come to the light. So if you're not doing what you say you're doing, eventually you're going to get tested. And then that test is going to prove either you were doing what you said or you weren't doing what you said. And I tell my son this all the time because I have him doing 100 push-ups, 100 squats, 100 sit-ups at 5 o'clock in the morning when he's here, my oldest son. And I don't watch him every day. But you know what I do? I test him randomly. I say, let's oh, that was his mom just sent me a message, but I talked to right. Look at God. but yeah, so I test him by saying, okay, randomly, give me 100 push-ups. And he'll be like, okay, then he'll start doing them. And then if he doesn't get to a certain point, I say, you haven't been doing them every morning. And that's the same way with anything we do in life. We could say that we're going to the gym and you don't see any results. You could say that you financially been studying and implementing, but you always broke. You could say whatever you say that you do, you have to do that even when people are not watching. Because at the end of the day, people will be watching. And sorry to say it, people want you to fail. Most people want you to fail so they'll feel better about themselves when they're not doing what they need to do. So I can say that's my perspective on faith and discipline. You have to have faith and discipline together to be better than you were yesterday. I'm not even going to say successful, better than you were yesterday, and that compounds as well. So now, Adrian, back to you. Let's see what you
say. Not because I was trying to get my thought, because I really didn't just want to answer it based off of how I see the two words and their definitions. I literally was thinking about what that means for me in my season, right? And so to sum it up, it's really like, do I have the faith to be disciplined? Right? Do I really believe I am who God has called me to be enough to where I can be disciplined? I can really take care of my temple. I will get up early in the morning. I won't take every little window or every little opportunity that's to me and move and choose based off of what God puts in front of me, right? I won't lean on my own wisdom and understanding. I'm literally going to be disciplined to walk out what I know to do because I truly have faith. So in this next season, for at least the next, how many days I got left? 20 days. That is literally like my focus is allow my faith to be shown through my discipline. And I've been rocking these first 2 days, y'all. I've been, you know what I'm saying? I've been goat walking these first 2 days. Holla at me day 12, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what we gonna see. Because it's consistency, right? Like, we all start off good. What happens day 5? What happens day 6? You know, what happens day 7? And then, so my viewpoint too of the faith is that if I go to God, you know, like he'll supply my needs, and that when I am weak, he is strongest. So my plan for when I get weak is to literally crawl in front of him like, yo, your words say when I'm weak, you strong. where you at? You know what I'm saying? I'm struggling bad and I can't do this like without you. This is me literally. So to your point too, Dominique, like they literally go hand in hand, but I really want my faith to be seen like by my discipline. When I look at you, Dominique, and your work ethic, your discipline literally shows your faithfulness, how you get up, how you send out the things you send to us, how you making time for the boys, how you making time for, the wife, how you doing stuff with the business. I say that all the time. That boy is a machine. You know what I'm saying? That boy is a machine. So yeah, man, that's what I'm on.
So I'm gonna say this too, because from the outside looking in, it may look like I'm a machine, but from the inside looking out, I look like I'm barely holding. I feel like I'm barely holding it together sometimes. And that's just being honest and transparent. Accountability partners is a big thing too. The season that my wife and I are in is grace, and it took us a while to get here, right? So I don't want anyone to know, anyone listening or watching to think that you get married, you just everything's just gonna fall in place. You will be tested. I mean, like you have never been tested before. And Adrian, is it's been a journey for us, and we are finally at a point where she understands her role, I understand my role, and we still are learning each other. But that's the beauty of it. People say marriage gets boring. It gets boring because you make it boring. I truly believe that you don't fall out of love with anyone. You get complacent with the things that you're doing because you're not trying to serve the other person. That's how I feel about it. And once I started trying to serve her and she was reciprocating that same action, peace. It's been peaceful and bliss. And now we do have some times where we're tired and we have to pull it back together. But we made a vow to ourselves, not 2026, but the end of last year, that we were always going to go to bed and pray together. Like we let the boys pray, and then we pray with each other over the house, over each other, and that has helped us because at the end of the day, like I heard Donnie say this before, God is the only thing that could come between two people and could bring them closer together. And that's what's
Ooh,
been
that's a bar.
happening. And that's what's been happening. So before I move to the next question, I'll let Donnie chime in if he has anything else to say.
I'm enjoying listening, man. I'm good.
All right, all right. So the next question I have, and I'm gonna go to your cue, Adrian. I'm about to say Jordan. She must be thinking about me. From a mental health standpoint, why do people struggle with consistency even when they want change?
Cause they lazy, man. Nah. Nah, I think it could be due to a lot of things. I think one perspective is in order to be consistent, you gotta face yourself. And if we honest, we don't like doing a lot of facing ourselves. We don't like to look at that, man in the mirror, right? We rather run from it. That's why a lot of our conversations and stuff stay so surface level. Hey, yeah, we could talk about sports. Let's talk about anything that doesn't involve us really looking at ourselves and our shortcomings and things like that. So I think that piece. I also think it could be like trauma related as well too, right? Because I think in order to be consistent, you got to be able to regulate your emotions, right? You got to be able to plan. You got to be able to see what's coming, what's not coming. You got to be able to do a lot of things. And that can be difficult for a lot of men who are used to just performing, right? It's two different things. Hey, okay, I'm a doer. Let me do this because I have to do it versus, hey, let me literally build something that's going to take time. And so rather than be consistent, we rather just shut down, right? Rather than me continuing to work on this communication thing or stick therapy through, you know what, it ain't no point in me talking to you no more because it ain't gonna get no better. We'll catastrophize it, something like that. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But like make one thing seem like everything is the end of the world, and it gives us an excuse to tap out because it's just easier to do that than to kind of be consistent.
Bars. Donnie, what's your perspective on it? And I can repeat the question.
Yeah, go ahead. You can repeat it.
From a mental health standpoint, why do people struggle with consistency even when they want change?
I think one of the toughest things is for people to acknowledge they're wrong. It's almost like sometimes it's like a level bringing in humility and being embarrassed. We kind of fight the idea of being insecure. Like most people have this false sense of confidence. It's like like I'm no, that's not me. It's almost like we shun the idea of that we're broken. So we always in the public's eye try to look as though we're whole. And we suffer in silence. You know what I'm saying? And alone a lot of times. When there's help available for us, instead of really just saying, you know what, I'm struggling, man. Can I get all the brothers like let's talk, man? I need help. One of the things I think, like when A was saying, like about going to work and throw yourself before the Lord, say, "Look, Lord, I'm weak." That's one of the things that's hard for us to say sometimes. Man, I'm weak. I'm like my mind ain't thinking right. I'm not in a good place. And I don't know why we don't do that, but I know that when we do for real, oftentimes we feel better because we can get some help.
Okay, so let me jump in here.
Okay.
So, from a mental health standpoint, why do people struggle with consistency even when they want change? Change is hard. Period. I go into companies all the time trying to change the way they think about things to work more efficiently. Because a lot of people think you're supposed to work super hard and you'll get better results. But like I said on one of my other lives, you can be on a treadmill running as fast as you can, not going anywhere, and just come out the gym tired. But people hate change, and it's hard to change. And from a mental health standpoint, we've been programmed over the years of programming from someone that never fixed their issues, never loved us the right way. And it's no fault to them because they didn't know any better, but they never tried to change. And when you bring up change to anyone, the first reaction is no. Like it's a defense. Like, whoa, no, change what? Why do I need to change? Why can't you change? So what I like to do is ask questions to make people think so they can change their way of thinking on their own. Because if I say you need to change this, they're like, who are you to tell me I need to change? They're gonna always look at you like, you know, you're not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. So that's why I'm asking you a question to make you think about what you're doing so you could come across the answer on your own. And the skill of facilitation and psychological, I wouldn't say it's manipulation. It's just psychological training to make you think logically and critically. And I think we're missing that in the world nowadays is critical thinking because everything is like, here you go, here you go, here you go. So you don't have to think critically. So anything that you want, you could go type it in, you could go pick it up, you get it delivered to your house. So you're never thinking about how can I fix this problem? And you just let it sit there. And then when you can't fix a problem or you can't find the answer or you can't have it delivered to you, you're frustrated. And now you go into like a means of depression. Now you're like, dang, I'm depressed because I just can't get it right now. And I tell everyone in business, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to go from zero to $20,000 this week unless you hit the lottery. And you probably already spent $20,000 trying to hit the lottery. So you probably spent more than that. So you're still in the negative. Gambling is not something that you need to do. You have to research, you have to analyze, and you also have to be intentional about what you're doing. And when you run into a wall, you could ask for help, but think about what you're doing. So I think it's just change, man. People don't want to change. They're set in their ways, and change is difficult. And we are like water. We go through the path of least resistance.
Facts.
So let's go back to Donnie. Got something for you. So, what's the difference between religious routines and purpose-driven discipline to you?
And so when I saw that, right, I thought about like in the Bible, you had the Pharisees and the Sadducees, right? And like they were religious leaders, but they were, even Jesus called them like vipers, like the serpent. They were religious in the fact that they drew nigh with their tongues or with their mouth, but their heart was far from God. And I think that that's the difference. Is a lot of times that people have a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. You're not really. It's like the love ain't there, the right spirit ain't there. It's kind of like a person say, yeah, I go to church, but that's where it stops. When you say I'm a Christian, that's kind of where it stops. It's like that I can control it. It's not that I'm surrendered. I think it has to do more with surrender. It's like, is it that I go to church for entertainment and to kind of see what's going on, or I go there to serve? Am I a part of like surrendering to God and I'm worshiping Him? It's not just about me going there and say, oh, the service was good, this and that, but it's about me surrendering and how can I become, a better servant of God.
What you got, Adrian?
Amen. 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 I think when I think about religious discipline, I think about your heart is not in it, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Is it like a heart issue? Are you doing things out of love? Like even with tithing, like if you notice in the Old Testament, it was more of a commandment, but then when you get to the New Testament, it's like you'll give with a cheerful heart. And so I think your heart posture and everything is the core of the major difference between it being religious versus it being like more purpose driven. And I will say, well, how would you do it if nobody's around, right? Or looking, which just goes back to kind of character. Like, are you the same way everywhere you kind of show up at, or are you not? And I think the main thing too is that this is something that only you can answer for yourself. You can't base it on anyone else, just like you really can't judge it unless you have discernment. So it's really like a self question that calls for a lot of self-reflection. Even myself, if I'm honest, me and my wife was talking about this award, right? I'm like, yo, I want to win that award, yo. And she was like, why? I'm like, dang, like, I don't know. And I'm still gonna sit with it, right? Because I'm like, dang, is it because I want the spotlight of it all and I want the recognition, which there's nothing wrong with recognition, but literally just sitting with myself long enough to figure out, like, why do I want to win that award? And it's been good for me. It's been a healthy little process because I'm thinking, okay, like look at my degrees and stuff like that, right? Like it's nothing that I ever hold up over anything. Typically I get what I want or I'll get an accomplishment and then that's it. I don't even really bring it back up. I don't be wanting the spotlight no more. So it's just been interesting of just doing a lot of that self-exploration and just trying to see like, hey, is that a heart issue or is it about me just wanting to be recognized in front of other people to say, look at me?
That's good. Like I like that, and I think we all would like to be recognized, right? But once you figure out that recognition doesn't do anything if you're not impacting something, impacting someone, impacting your household, impacting another life, or just being purposeful to your calling, right? And I think once you figure that out, you're like, this is why I want that award, so I can impact more people. Because I can tell you impacted me tremendously. Like it's been, like I said, getting married. It was like the first year was a ball. Like I had so much fun the first year, and then it was like slowly, like Oh my goodness. There's no knock to my wife. It was just we didn't come together as one. We were still living separate lives, but we were living together. And like Adrian, you said before, you have to kill your old self to become a new one with your person. So you become one. So you take vows to become one. But most people still try to live separately. And I think that's where the struggle happens. It's like, no, I'm right. No, I'm right. And it's like, no, your way is wrong. No, your way is wrong. But it could be so easy if you just follow a big book of cheat codes.
Yeah.
that that big book of cheat codes would tell you everything that you should do. It's nothing in the Bible that's going to say, do this and it's wrong. Because everything that you do in the Bible, if you do it, you're going to experience the right thing. Like it's just so amazing that we get away from that. But that's I know I kind of went on a tangent, but that's what I've been feeling like. Just the cheat code. I have the cheat code. I know what I need to do. And I know we're right at 7 o'clock, and I know we only had a good 30 minutes tonight. I wanted to make sure we got on because I don't want this to go away, but I want this to be done as much as possible.
Okay.
And I want more people to get involved with this because it helps me to talk to you guys on these Mondays because I do move like a machine, but I do need people to talk to outside of just figuring stuff out. Because my mind going from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, and it's draining sometimes. So I'm gonna say this, and now I'll let you guys chime in. If someone commits to one discipline habit rooted in faith and mental health this week, what should it be?
Wait, repeat that again.
If someone commits to one discipline habit rooted in faith and mental health this week, what should it be? Commits to one discipline. What should it be?
I'm gonna say give yourself at least 10 to 15 minutes just to spend some time with yourself and like check in with you and really see like hey, how are you doing today? How are you managing things, today? What is it that you kind of need, today? I don't think we spend nowhere near enough time with ourselves, man. And to the machine, Dominique, we get so caught up with everybody else and making sure everything else is taken care of. So just take time to really assess yourself. Like it was a beautiful thing for me to really sit here and think about why I want an award. Right? Normally I'm moving at 100 miles a minute, trying to plan everything, bills, wifey, this and that, and this. But it felt good to really sit and just spend time with that thought for myself. So I encourage y'all to be disciplined enough to make time for yourself because you deserve it.
Donnie?
And I would say I think it's so important to read. Like, for me, it's reading the Bible, man. I believe it adds virtue to you. The Bible says that, faith cometh by hearing and hearing the word of God. So what's important is like we need something to counteract everything else we go through in life. Like if you I used to be like when I used to read the Bible at night, man, I would always get like I start yawning and get sleepy. Like I've learned, I used to say, man, if you ever want to go to sleep, start reading the Bible. I feel like the enemy gonna try to make you sleepy. You know what I'm saying? But what I would try to do, right? I would mess around and I say, all right, if I yawn, I gotta read an extra chapter. And man, I just feel like it sticks to you. It gives you something to fight with. It gives you something to kind of to hold on to. And there's never been a time where I haven't read the Bible, man, and felt better.
So I'm gonna add, and I'm gonna close with this from what both of you have said. I'm gonna say this: when you wake up early in the morning, don't touch your phone. Don't talk to anyone. Grab the Bible, sit with yourself, and then get your day started. Take 30 minutes to an hour to pray, read the Bible, drink water, Please drink some water when you get up. Because you know when you get up in the morning, that cotton mouth is bad. But pray, read the Bible, drink your water, and sit in your thoughts and ask God to guide you for the day. And if you do that, I guarantee you will be energized and you will have the best day that you could possibly have. Because then you're going to go to the gym, you're going to go to work, and nothing can throw you off. And I heard Philip Mitchell, Pastor Philip Mitchell, say this on one of his lives. He said, you need time to reset. And I took that as every break that you have, pray. Going into another scenery, another space. Before you get to that space, just pray and then go into the next space. Because if you think about it, when you get up in the morning and you pray, you feel better. It's like you get your battery recharged. But then you go into the world and it takes away. So now, after that world has hit you and you're going into another space in the world, take a break, pray, and ask God to give you strength going into the next space and see how much better you feel going into your days. So that's it for tonight, 5 a.m. Club After Hours. Please join the school community. We'll be here to help you, support you in any way possible. Again, good night, guys.